Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer. Say, two wrongs don't make a right, but what do two rights make? An airplane. Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to go ahead and take a look at E.T. the Extraterrestrial from Funko Games.
Hello everybody, we'll get back to the review in just a second. I just want to take a moment to ask you to go ahead and check out and subscribe to my other channel, that is Cody Carlson PhD, where we talk about military history and books on history and fun things like that. Please check that out, please subscribe, and now, back to the review.
In E.T. the Extraterrestrial, 2 to 4 players take on the roles of those kooky kids as they attempt to help E.T. phone home, then get him to his spaceship so he can return to his people before the government gets him. The game board is a map of the town. There are various spaces in between the different zones. You have roads. You also have shortcuts through the zones. At the beginning of the game, you're going to go ahead and mix up the various items, place them face down in the zones, except for a few key places. Now each character is going to choose their own kid. They're going to go ahead, take that kid card and the corresponding figure and place it on the board. You're also going to place various color-coded agents with those kids on the board, as well as a special agent named Keys, as well as the 3 cop cars. The kids and E.T. will start near Elliot's house. E.T. will be able to go in some of the baskets, but he does not start in the basket. You're also going to have an E.T. Kind of counter, and you're going to place the counter, his heart, in the center of the counter to 6. Now, essentially, the goal of the game is to get E.T. home, but to do that, you're going to have to collect several items, get them to the right locations, and then get E.T. to the forest clearing where he can find his spaceship and get home. Now, on your turn, you can take up to 3 basic actions and then any number of free actions. Your basic actions in this game are you can move up to 2 spaces along roads and shortcuts. You can also take 1 piece of candy from the reserve and put it next to the kids. This is a pool that any of the kids can use for later use. More on that later. And then if you are next to a zone, you can go ahead and pick up an item or device in that zone and place it in your basket. Now your free actions at any time, you can drop an item or device in a zone. You can actually spend some of that candy to move E.T. up to 1 space. You can pick up or drop off E.T. by placing him in your basket. You can play 1 E.T. power card. You can build a device by putting all of the collected device material together. And you can also team up, essentially interlinking your figures with each other. Now, every time you build a device, that gives you access to the phone dice. You can roll a phone dice if you've got that device completed. And every time you roll a phone, it moves the spaceship 1 step closer toward the clearing. Next, you're going to move your enemies. So you roll 2 of the dark enemy die. Now, if you're in the same space as E.T. or another player, you're also going to roll the red danger die. Now, depending on what the symbols rolled come up as, that's going to affect the movement of the various enemies on the board. If you roll the A, B, or C siren, then you're going to move a cop car that much closer to their space in the clearing. Going to try to get them to seal off the clearing, in which case it'll be impossible for E.T. to get home. For each badge symbol you roll, you move your colored cop closer to you. For each key you roll, you move Agent Keys 1 space closer to E.T. If you roll a siren with a question mark, you can choose which cop car to move forward. If you roll a exclamation point, then you move all of the agents closer to their respective kids and E.T. If you roll a +2, you double the movement of the other die you rolled. Now, if E.T. is ever caught, his heart rate goes down, his heart symbol goes down, Agent Keys goes to a space. If the kids are ever caught, E.T.'s heart symbol goes down, the kids drop whatever they're carrying, they go back to Elliot's house. Now, if ever the cops surround the forest, the clearing there, then E.T. can't get to a spaceship, you lose the game immediately. If ever E.T. becomes too weak, his heart dial goes down to 0, then you lose the game immediately. However, if the mothership does make it to the clearing, and E.T. is in one of the 4 nearby spaces, then he is able to go home and you win! E.T. the Extraterrestrial. So this is a pretty light game. It plays in about a half an hour. It's a basic puzzle. How do you get the items, how fast can you collect the items and roll the die and get the spaceship to where it needs to be before the enemies close in, before they're able to knock your ET dial down to 0, or they're able to seal off the clearing. So it's a real super light basic game, and yet it still is fun. It still has charm, and it still is very evocative of its theme. Played this with Holly. I've just played the 2-player game, and it was pretty fun. We liked it for what it was. It wasn't anything that blew us away, but again, for a if you like the theme, it really does suck you into it. The artwork is great, and just like I said, the general feeling is very evocative of the film. So that was a lot of fun as well. So my feeling is I really enjoyed playing the game, but there's not a lot of meat there because it is, as I say, it is so light. So I'm going to recommend try it before you buy it. It's a very positive try it before you buy it, particularly if you like the film, but that's where I'm going to go with this one. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We'd ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. I'd also ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to please check out my other channel, that is Cody Carlson, PhD, where we talk about military history and books on history and fun things like that. Please check it out. Please subscribe. And we'd ask you to please leave a thumb to this video on Board Game Geek as well. We really appreciate that. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know you are all invited to come to my Halloween party this year. There's going to be plenty of free booze.
Please somebody help me on my feet again, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band.
Thank you for ruining my daddy's life.